People often come to us and ask, I don't want to build muscle, but I want to tone. What should I do? And people get this wrong all the time. You've probably seen magazines say that you need to lift weights for a ton of reps, or you need to do this hip new exercise that you've never heard of before. You've probably also heard some trainers say that there's no such thing as toning and it's all a myth. So who's got it right? Why all the confusion? What should you actually do? By the end of this episode, you'll know what is the difference between toning and building muscle, what to do to get that toned look, and why most other fitness articles and blogs get this wrong.
Welcome to the next episode of Flat Stomach, Scam versus the Real Way to Lose Belly Fat series. If you want to know when the next episode drops, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and also hit that bell icon. Hi Viva fam, this is Richa from CoachViva.com. Let's go.
So what is toning versus building muscle? Now, when people say they want to tone muscles, they usually also use words like tighten or lengthening something. First, muscles either get bigger or they don't. You can pick which parts of the body that you want to work on, but there's no way to tighten up a muscle or lengthen it in the way that most people think about aesthetically. When most people think about tightening up an area, what they really mean is that they want to lose enough fat to be able to see definition underneath and gain just enough muscle such that there is definition in the first place, but not too much such that they start to look bulky. And that's pretty much it. So building muscle means to make your muscles bigger. Toning means to reduce the appearance of body fat such that the skin is tight around your muscles. Basically, you want to just minimize the squishiness and see some muscular outline. For a lot of people, they especially want abs. So as you can see, building muscle is just a component towards getting that toned look. Now the confusion is that the word toned means different things for different people. And I'm curious, which one of these do you consider to be a toned look that you'd be satisfied with? Comment below and let me know. Now, regardless of what your goal is, most people need to lose enough fat first. And as you probably know, if you watch any of our previous video, that means getting your diet in check. That is priority number one, and most people know this. But the build muscle part of the equation is a little more difficult to explain. Here's the deal. If you don't have muscle in the first place, no amount of fat loss will help you get that toned look. Adding muscle does two things to help. One, having enough muscle makes the outline actually show up on your body. If you don't have muscle, of course there is nothing to show and you're still going to have a squishy appearance. Look at the pictures. I weigh exactly the same in both of these pictures. On the left, I haven't really started strength training yet. And on the right, I've been strength training for about a year. Now, I actually guess that I probably have the same amount of fat in both pictures, but in the second one, I have more muscle underneath as well. That leads to point number two. Having enough muscle will actually more evenly distribute the fat that lies between your muscle and your skin. That's what gets you the tight look. You can think of it as if you have enough muscle, it in the skin will compress the fat so that it's distributed more evenly and it's more taut. If you ever gotten down to a really low weight and still didn't really like how you looked, even though you look good in clothes, you might still have a bit of a pudge. And that's probably because you were lacking muscle to help balance everything out and stretch everything out, to say. So this is why building muscle is an important component to toning. And if you care specifically about abs in terms of actual numbers, most people start seeing visible abs around 18% to 22% body fat for women and 9% to 12% body fat for men.
A lot of programs recommend that you lift light weights in the 15 to 20 rep range, and they claim that this will help you tone your muscles and not get bulky. But as Lucy said earlier, either your muscles get bigger or they don't. You can pick which parts of your body you want to work on, but you can't tighten up certain parts of your body in the way that people think toning works. Seriously, if you skip the last part where Lucy explained all of this, go back and watch it so the rest of this makes sense. So what separates people who are going for the toned look versus the people who are trying to build muscle is that the people who are trying to get the toned look will actively stop building muscle once they get the right enough muscular look. And that is very subjective for every person. As we discussed in another episode in the series, you can pretty much build muscle in any rep range when you're first starting out, as long as you continue to challenge yourself with the weight that you're lifting. But it may go more slowly than you like. For optimal muscle growth rate, most experts agree on the 8 to 12 rep range. So why do fitness magazines recommend the 15 to 20 rep range for women to tone themselves? Number one, it's less scary for people to lift lighter weights in the higher rep range, so the fitness industry is going for an easy sell. Number two, you will feel a burning sensation in your muscles when you're lifting lighter weights for a longer number of reps. And the reason for this is because you're building muscle endurance. You're not necessarily building muscle growth. Those are two separate things. So it feels like you're getting a good workout, even if it's not the most efficient. Lifting weights that you can manage to lift for 15 to 20 reps will cause your muscles to grow more slowly, versus if you were lifting the kind of weights that you can only lift for the 8 to 12 rep optimal range. Some people might prefer this because they don't want to overshoot and accidentally bulk up more than they wanted to. Okay, on that note, a common concern among women is, what if I get bulky? Just like with toning, different people have different opinions on what is bulky. Which of these pictures do you think is actually bulky? Comment below and let me know. Regardless of which one you thought was bulky, building muscles takes a long time. If you think losing fat takes a long time, you ain't seen nothing yet. Unless a woman is taking steroids, an average woman who's training hard can gain 0.5 pounds to 1 pound of muscle per month. And an average man can gain about 1 to 2 pounds of muscle per month. That's about 4 to 8 times slower than the typical rate of fat loss for most people. And if that's not slow enough, the rate drastically reduces after about 6 or so months of training. So there's almost no way that you're accidentally going to overshoot and bulk up unless you literally never look at yourself in the mirror. If you're looking to get started in strength training, we made a whole video that covers how to do it from an effectiveness as well as habit building point of view. Check it out in the link below.
Okay, now let's talk about how to eat for toning. Earlier, we mentioned that in order to even see the musculature for, say, abs, you want to be around 10 to 12% for men and 19 to 22% for women. Just like how no amount of fat loss can show a toned look if you don't build muscle underneath, no amount of muscle gain can show the toned look if you have too much fat to cover the underlying muscle. This simply means that you have to eat in a calorie deficit so that you get that sweet spot of balance of muscle versus fat. Check out our video on how many calories to eat to lose weight that we've made, and I'll link that in the description below.
Once you get the right amount of muscle and you're feeling pretty good about the distribution of your muscle and fat in your body, then you're free to choose to stop building more. However, you still have to train so you don't lose your gains. For maintenance, you just need to train each part of your body at least once a week. If you're doing a full body routine, then once a week is good. If you're doing a split routine, such as a lower body and an upper body one, then 2 times a week is the minimum, and you can do any variation that you want. Just make sure that you keep lifting the same amount of weight that you were lifting before. You don't need to increase the weight that you were lifting, but you should make sure that you don't regress either. As for food, once you're at the body fat percentage that you're happy with, you can just switch to eating at maintenance calories. We made a whole series called How I Stay Healthy and Fit, which covers the healthy habits for maintaining your body without it becoming a huge burden on you. Go ahead and check it out in the description below.
Hey there, if you want to know when the next episode drops, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and also hit that bell icon. Until then, keep crushing it.